Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is Friday, June 27th, 2025, and I've got a couple of Crypto Times articles I want to share with you. And I also have an update on my anti-cammerbot. I have, like I mentioned before, I have somebody who unlocks later today, and I have the latest and greatest version, which I think, is the final version. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, the metrics. The circulating supply is 7.58 billion Pi, and there were 100,683 user accounts migrated in the last 24 hours. Now, that's not a record because we set that record a couple of days ago, but for the last 3 days, migrations have been around the 100,000 mark for the last 3 days. And that's really good, but it's also quite a bit different than what we were seeing leading up to Pi2Day. So again, I think they're either, padding their numbers to make something that they're going to announce seem better, or they need to free up more of their tokenomics for compensation to fund something that they've got in the works. So it's kind of weird, the timing. I have to say I'm a little skeptical of this timing. But yesterday's migrations totaled 26.1 million Pi, and there is 66.9 million Pi in the Pi migration wallet. I checked this morning, and again, around 6 a.m., and migrations were already going. So it looks to me like they're going like 24/7. So they're really giving these servers a workout. The migrated unlocked rewards are at 2.32 billion Pi. And there is 12.3 million Pi now unlocked and free to be traded on the open markets. I wanted to say something real quick. I had shown a statistic a while ago about the total number of migrated users. I had written a script to do this, and it takes a long time to run because it goes through the entire Pi Foundation 2 wallet from the start of history. And I found a flaw because I wasn't grabbing enough data to pull out some more interesting statistics. So I started it from scratch, and it's been running now for days and days and days. So I don't know if it's ever going to finish, to be honest with you. I might have made a fatal flaw in how it knows when it's done. So I'll give it a little more time before I call it quits and say, all right, let's try this a different way. Looking at the price action, the Pi coin is currently trading at 55 cents, which is up 1.61% from this time yesterday. The market cap is at $4.22 billion, which is up 1.9%. The daily trading volume is at $118.06 million, which is down 57.34%. That's interesting. We've got Pi2Day coming, and I'm still not seeing that hype building up, which is very unusual. I expect it will kick in. I really do. I don't believe that our community as a whole has, gotten a dose of sanity and decided that they weren't going to get excited over nothing. And I just don't see it. So I do expect that the hype will happen. And we'll start seeing the volume pick up. We'll see the price jump up. And then, like is typical, I expect it to drop rather precipitously after the actual announcement. If it doesn't, that means something truly momentous was announced, and then the sky's the limit. But I'm not holding out much hope for that. It's a safe strategy because then you're pleasantly surprised. And I'm going to say that I'm still bullish on the Pi coin. So I saw this article from the Crypto Times, and it says, Pi Network and Google enter secret deal, fact check. It's funny that they do these fact check articles because they're often the ones putting out the speculation in the first place. So it's like you've got them putting out the speculation and then fact checking themselves. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Is that like the dragon eating its own tail? A rumor has surfaced in the Pi community that Pi Network is teaming up with Google's AI team It all started after Pi co-founder Nicholas Kokolis appeared at Consensus 2025 on a panel about generative AI. Not long after, Pi Network posted on X saying, "How is Gen AI related to Pi Network? Why did one of two Pi founders, Nicholas Kokolis, participate in a Gen AI panel at Consensus 2025? That message, paired with the AI panel, caused many to believe that Pi Network is about to launch an AI feature that Google might be involved. Things really picked up when some users spotted what looked like the Google Gemini AI logo inside the Pi Network app. One user shared a screenshot and wrote, "The Gemini icon is right there." Others said that the star symbol in Pi's teaser looked like the Gemini logo. Community pages like Pi Barter Mall also shared posts saying the partnership. Gotta love the grammar here. Another user added that the big announcement could be about a project called Pi AI, hinting at Pi's own version of AI. I will say that that's highly unlikely. Considering the size of the team, what kind of AI is Pi going to generate that isn't based on an existing AI? Right? And then what value would it give you? So if they do have something like that, it's going to be based on one of the big players, Grok, Gemini, Copilot, or ChatGPT. And then, the question becomes what are they building on top of that? So I don't know. Moreover, Pi Network has also been talking about artificial intelligence lately. In past posts and events, the team has mentioned plans to bring AI tools into the app. They have also joined big tech talks and panels about how AI can work with blockchain. This has made users even more sure that something big is coming on Pi2Day. People expect something big to come on Pi2Day anyway. The fact that they teased some AI connection leading up to Pi2Day and saying that they would reveal it, it's not a big stretch to suggest that, yeah, that's what people are waiting to hear. I don't know what it's going to be, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be anything internal with respect to AI, because they've said all along that they use AI internally for processing KYC applications, and they're continually refining that process to improve it. So my guess is this is going to be some kind of partnership or some kind of new tool or feature that incorporates AI. And that's pretty exciting depending on what it is. And this article says, will Picoin hit $1 on Pi Network's Pi2Day Fest on June 28th? It's a good question. On Pi Day, or leading up to Pi Day, it had something of a rally. And when they teased that big announcement in May, that also led to a rally. So again, I'm surprised that we're not already seeing something of a rally in the price, but I expect it's coming. The question is will it hold? The Pi price is back under the radar of the crypto community with its impressive price action over the last 24 hours. That's an interesting choice of words, right? Under the radar usually means you're not being noticed or you're not showing up. And then, of course, they're saying impressive price action. I think that's just a mistake there. With a retest to 65 cents, this altcoin has intensified the optimism among its investors and promoters. Additionally, with the Pi2Day Fest moments away, many analysts are predicting Pi crypto to reclaim the prolonged $1 mark. People need to run this like through Gemini or something to fix their grammar or clean it up. It's kind of weird. If you would think that for a crypto news organization, they'd be a little more polished in what they're publishing. Are you one of many trying to figure out the same? Through this article, we will uncover the whale activity, market sentiments, and impact of Pi2Day on price prediction this week. One of the largest Pi whales, the infamous ODM wallet, has made major transactions over the past 5 days, highlighting increased whale activity in the market. In the last 24 hours, they withdrew 3.7 million Pi tokens from the OKX exchange. And this particular whale tends to be focused largely on OKX, which is kind of weird because out of the exchanges that are part of the Pi Network KYB, they have one of the lowest liquidities of Pi out there. I think Gate.io is the largest. And these are just some of the transactions. I don't know if you can see that on your screen, but this is the ODM wallet and the recent transactions. Just one thing to point out, if you look at the Pi Network Blockchain Explorer versus like say PiScan.io, you'll often see different wording with respect to withdraw and transfer and pay and all that. Just keep in mind that as far as the blockchain is concerned, there is only two types of transactions. There's payments and there's receipt. Any type of descriptor as to what it is solely at the discretion of the reporting agency. So they can call it Joe and Maggie for all we care. It doesn't matter. There's only two types of transactions, and it doesn't give any distinction about what it's for. So there's withdrawal, payment, anything like that doesn't matter. It's either coming in or it's going out. Notably, it has successfully executed 5 major transactions, each exceeding $100,000. Now, this is weird because usually this wallet deals in much larger sums. So it's kind of weird that they have these like smaller transactions. I'm not sure what that means. The Pi crypto price has successfully retested the 65-cent mark today with a 130% surge in its daily trading volumes. With this, it is currently listed at 64 cents, highlighting a 21% jump. The Pi token now has a market dominance of 14%, with a market capitalization of 4.95 billion. I'm not quite sure what they mean there. The Bollinger Bands are used to measure volatility and identify potential overbought or oversold conditions. Moreover, the widening of bands indicates increased volatility, while narrowing signals consolidation. Notably, the price has broken above the mid-band, suggesting increasing bullish momentum for the altcoin in the market. The bear pull power has moved from a negative trend to a slightly positive trend and is valued at 0.0504, suggesting a shift in momentum towards buyers. Further sustained positive BBP values may suggest that bulls are gaining control and gearing up for a potential rally in the upcoming time. June 28 is Pi2Day and one of the most significant dates in the Pi network community. That's true. With significant updates frequently coming at that time by the core team. During previous years on Pi2Day and Pi Day, March 14th, new options were presented, including the upgraded version of Pi Browser, new D-apps, and the enhancement of KYC. Additionally, the debut year for the Pi network should be great, as it is expected that the second wave of KYC rollout will occur. It could allow millions of users to access the system who are facing KYC issues at the moment. Moreover, developers can expect new D-apps and new tools in the ecosystem, along with a potentially upcoming AI integration, which is indicated by the presence of Mexico-based co-founder Nicholas Kokolas in person in Consensus 2025. Now, can somebody unravel that for me? What is Nicholas Kokolas in Mexico? I mean, I didn't think he lived there, and that's certainly not his country of origin. There are companies in California. Does he commute from Mexico? I don't know what the deal is there. I think that could be wrong. Somebody figure that out for me, will you? PiFest 2025 early this year encouraged real-life adoption and linked the users to merchants accepting PiCoin. A positive Pi2Day could get users to increase their usage, usefulness, and possibly even inspire exchange listing rumors. Well, we don't need any help with that. All you have to do is put out any post that says, oh, Binance is getting ready to list Pi, and that'll just run on its own. It's like a perpetual motion machine. You don't have to provide it any energy. Nevertheless, there are no significant upgrades which may cool the spirits and market trust of the Pi people. And I'm not going to read the rest of that because it's just like more speculative nonsense. So that was a lot to digest today, but I think it's warranted with Pi2Day coming. An update on my bot. Like I said, I've got this last hurrah, and I'm making it as good as possible because I want it to have the best chance of success. And I think I'm there. And then yesterday, I had a breakthrough, and I'm not going to say what it is, But I will say that the bot is now orders of magnitude faster. And I am confident that if I'm competing with bots that are playing on the Horizon network or the Horizon interface, I will beat them. If I lose, then it will be confirmation that at least some of these scammers are operating directly on the blockchain. Now, technically speaking, that shouldn't be possible. If that is the case, then either there is some sort of connection to the Pi core team with one of these scammers, or the scammers have figured out a way to hack the security of the Pi network and get access to the blockchain data. Now, that doesn't mean that your accounts or anything like that are in jeopardy, other than the fact that it allows them to steal your Pi because your passphrase was compromised. But it does give them an advantage because they can see what's called the gossip on the blockchain. And that happens very fast and very frequently. And the Horizon, which is an interface on top of that, introduces a whole lot of latencies and other types of delays that they don't have, which allows them to act a lot quicker on events such as balance unlocks. So this will be an interesting test, because if I lose, then that's confirmation that there are scammers running on the blockchain. So we'll have to see. I am hopeful. I'm giving the Pi network confidence that they have adequately secured their network and that they don't have somebody nefarious operating on their blockchain. Well, that's all I have for today. We anxiously await Pi2Day and any news that it may bring. I'm hoping it's good news. I certainly don't think it'll be bad news, but the question is will it be great news? I don't know. So we'll just have to wait. So until then, don't panic, stay the course, and remember, the success of the Pi network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.